We're going to talk today about how Hakeem Jeffries attempted to counter-bully President Donald J. Trump, how he completely botched it, and what that teaches us about a bullying manipulation technique and how you can confront it, disarm it, and make it worse for your counter-bully in every area of your life. It's going to be good. I'm Joshua Lisec. This is Daily Persuasion. I am the New York Times bestselling author and co-author, ghostwriter of more than 100 books, and a certified hypnotist. Through this unique lens of experiences, I teach you how to better influence the VIPs in your life and your career. Now, this is in the context of Hakeem Jeffries being invited into the Oval Office together with Chuck Schumer. And Jeffries, who obviously is a Democrat, was insisted upon being gifted a Trump 2028 hat. So this is an absolute epic troll. And of course, Vice President J.D. Vance is there, and J.D. Vance is the heir apparent. And he said, when asked about the 2028 hats and how he felt about them, he said no comment, and everyone laughed. The thing about those who rely on bullying manipulation techniques, and bullying, by the way, is it's something like increasingly worsening abuse, and it's one-sided. That's really what bullying is on the playground. And speaking of playground, the other night I witnessed a little bit of bullying occur. I considered intervening, but fortunately it cleared itself up. But what I wanted to share with you, what I observed, was there were these two children who were kind of ganging up a little bit on this other child. And I noticed how these two kids were sort of following this other around the playground. Of course, I'm there with my children trying to keep them safe, as they're my priority. And the one kid, who I guess you could say is the target of the bullying, would scream loudly, "Quit making fun of me, stop making fun of me." And the two other kids would say, "We're not making fun of you, we're not making fun of you, we're just pointing out that blah, blah, blah." It was inaudible, right? "Stop making fun of me," the child would continue to yell. I witnessed this scene, and I saw what looked like a little bit of low-intensity skirmish occurring. And I realized that Hakeem Jeffries had made the same mistake. So, following the Oval Office meeting, Donald J. Trump shared a video depicting Hakeem Jeffries with a giant sombrero and a mustache. Hakeem Jeffries, in protest, went on to Chris Matthews on MSNBC, among others, and complained about how offensive this was. Other representatives I saw also took to the cameras to talk about how offensive this was. One particular screeching female I observed, she did this sort of finger wagging like this sort of scolding. "Stop making fun of me." And she said, with staccatos, with pauses, "He put him in a sombrero," waving her finger like this. School marming, we call that. And there was a video clip in which Hakeem Jeffries had the hat on, or rather, he was complaining about the hat. And so Donald J. Trump then clipped the clip of him complaining about the clip. And not only did, in this clip of Hakeem Jeffries complaining about the government shutdown looming, complaining about the sombrero, complaining about Trump's cavalier demeanor over all of it, just complaining about Republicans, Trump's social media account took that video and put the sombrero and mustache back on Hakeem Jeffries, and an AI-generated set of 4 mariachi Trumps with various instruments like trumpets and guitar, and also sombreros on themselves. So the accusation from the child on the playground was, "You're making fun of me." And then those children, and the children said, "We're not making fun of you." And I saw that technique put into practice. "You're making fun of me, Mr. President." "I'm not making fun of you. I'm in a sombrero too." You see that clever technique there? If you want to deal with who you perceive as being a bully, the correct way is to do exactly what they're doing, magnify it, make it a spectacle, and disarm the bully. That's how you disarm. That's how you neutralize a bully. Now, am I saying that Donald J. Trump and or Hakeem Jeffries are bullies? Not precisely. What I'm pointing out is that the dynamics of that interaction, the day that I witnessed it, I then pull up social media and I see the Hakeem Jeffries sombrero bits, and then Trump making himself into a mariachi band player to join in the fun and the revelry. Okay. What does this mean in your own life? When someone is trying to scold you or engage in otherwise emotional manipulation, what we're calling kind of now emotional terrorism, talking about you have no empathy, you're a toxic, emotionally abusive, narcissistic, abusive abuser. Okay. You simply say, no, I'm not. And then what is the thing that they are accusing you of doing to them? What does it look like to then do that to yourself in participation with that? I'm reminded of the character Andy, I believe it was, played by Chris Pratt in Parks and Recreation. There was sort of a subplot that was recurrent through those episodes of how Andy could not be embarrassed. He was unshameable. Ironically, a somewhat immature masculine, but coinciding with Ron Swanson, perfectly masculine. Sort of the two of them together, sort of the boyish charm, the hilarity, together with the stoic, traditional masculine habits of whatnot of Ron Swanson, that character. So the two of them together create a proper balanced masculine energy for the show, which is kind of rare in the current year. But you can't make that show anymore. Blah blah blah. What does everybody say about cultural decay? But I would notice that when other characters would attempt to make fun of Andy, he would do the thing even more they were attacking him for and do it to them and with them to throw them off. So imagine if there was a character, perhaps Aziz Ansari's character, Tom, began calling Andy a clown. Oh, he's such a look at this big goofy clown, he might say. This is sort of a hypothetical riff on the episode, but you'll get the point. Andy's persona would then say, yeah, I'm absolutely a clown. And he would then grab something round, stick it on his nose, and go around honking and getting up in the Tom character's face, perhaps, and then sticking the nose on him too. You're also a clown. We're all clowns. And then he'd make this big thing, completely throwing Tom off of his game. And then instead of everyone laughing at Andy, everyone would be laughing at Tom because Andy simply embraced the role. He became one with the sombrero and brought Tom, Hakeem Jeffries, into the show. School marms and scolds hate to be part of the spectacle. They want to be taken seriously. They want to be obeyed. They want to be treated with a dignity that they have long since ejected the deserving of. You see, that hypothetical example of Parks and Recreation it's not exactly something from the show, but that dynamic very much so was throughout the series. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but I recall the show of how Andy was capable of receiving negative energy, expanding it, turning it back, embracing and amplifying it, and blowing it back onto you so that it blew up on you. It's racist for putting me in a sombrero. To which Trump responds with putting 4 of himself in 4 sombreros with musical instruments and having little mariachi magic happening in the background. So good. It's so good. Now, this is not going to persuade the target of your persuasion, the immediate one person who's bullying you. The purpose is to get everyone else in the playground watching. The purpose is to get all other Democrats and Republicans and voters, the base, to observe this. And it's something like, come at the king and you best not miss. It's a bit like that. So Hakeem Jeffries has been one of the more recent noisy Trump scolds. We'll call it. It's Trumpscolding. That's really what it is. Yeah. And this sort of anti-bullying measure works, where you do back to the bully exactly what they're doing to you, and you blow it up to such an extent that now they're the one getting laughed at, and they're not used to that. Anyway, I think you pulled a lot from this episode. The one other thing I want to mention is kind of a special mention is from the Ron Swanson character from Parks and Recreation. You remember him. One of his more famous lines, it's a clip that's sort of put together in these viral compilations of Ron Swanson best moments. I'm not sure why I'm thinking about Ron Swanson today, Parks and Recreation, other than the Andy character. And that's a good example of absorbing energy. Look at this big goofy clown. Yep, I'm a clown. Look at my big shoes. I've got a balloon. And you grab something that was obviously not a balloon and twist it into a balloon animal. And then, hi, little, and he might say, hi, little Tommy. Oh, look at you. You're so cute. And then give him a noogie, right? And then like honk his nose or something like that. And just clown him back, acting like a clown. Hey, stop, get off me. What are you doing? And then they become the one that's sensitive, reacting like a bullying victim. Quit making fun of me. Stop. That's not fair, says the bully. And now their game is gone. So good. Ron Swanson's viral moment is simply looking at the camera, turning his head, closing his eyes just a little bit, and saying, no. I was talking with someone last night about how the vast majority of parenting methods, which are effectively attempts to persuade your kids to act right, I guess you could say, in a certain light, parents are afraid of telling their kids no. What would happen if you said no and held it? So you don't want to say no, and then after persistent escalation of emotional terrorism against you as a parent, 8 attacks at your no, you then give in. What has that just taught you? What has that just taught the kids, rather? Well, that's taught them that they need to engage in 8 sets of emotional terrorism to turn your no into a yes. You just created a monster. Congratulations. Don't do that. So you either say, yes, we'll find a way to make that work, even if it would be inconvenient for you, or you hold the no, no matter what. And with kids, you don't have to hold a no very long until they go through their tantrum, screaming, yelling all manner of things, perhaps breaking something. Okay, you're going to pay for that. Okay. Coming out of your allowance. Blah, 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 blah. No, we're leaving now. Let's go. And then you get up and you leave while they're still within earshot, I guess it is. You go right along, still within eyeshot, about 75 yards away. You can still see them. They get up from their temper, dust themselves off, and rejoin you as if nothing ever happened because you held the no. And often we're afraid to say no. We're afraid to counter the bully. We're afraid to engage in sombrero persuasion, mariachi magic, because we're afraid it's not going to work or whatnot. But understand, the purpose is to affect the people around the target of the persuasion. Now, sometimes with your child, it's them, certainly. But it's also to affect the other people so that the other people look at the kid and like, you better go. And there's that sense of urgency. Your parent is in the right. You're not. Get the heck out of here. So you can sometimes influence the target indirectly through the behavior of others. I don't think Hakeem Jeffries, given the humiliation he suffered, is going to be as vocal and as noisy as he has been in the past. Trumpscolding doesn't work.